Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to this super special first episode of our webcast series, Pharmacy Benefit Facts in Under 15 Minutes. And if you're curious as to what my guilty pleasure is as a marketer, it's right there in that title. I love alliterations. I don't care how cheesy they are. So guys, the intention of this webcast series is just to deliver powerful yet easy to digest pieces of information surrounding all things prescription and pharmacy benefits management. So to kick things off, I thought it was really important to first introduce TrueScripts so that our listeners can understand who we are, what makes us tick, and why we even exist as a PBM in this crazy space. And there is really no one better to help me do that than Chastity Matthews. Chastity is a TrueScripts original, and today she serves as our Senior Director of Growth and Partner Relationships. So Chas, thanks for joining me today, and tell our listeners, hey.
Hey, so glad to be here.
So Chas, with you being part of TrueScripts since our inception, you've really seen it all. Can you give our audience a brief history of just our background and how we came to be as a PBM?
Sure. So it's kind of a fun story. When Nathan Gabhart, who is one of our founders, was a pharmacist behind the retail counter, right, servicing patients, doing his thing, he just saw firsthand how much power and influence and control the PBM had on his patients. And then he saw it was not just his patients, it was also other business owners, other companies in our little small town here in southwestern Indiana. And he just said there had to be a better way, right? When you have patients who are now paying more than they ever did or don't have access to the medications that they used to have, clients who were being charged one amount and his pharmacy was being paid much less, and the PBM was keeping that money in the middle. And all of these things just really shone the light on the fact that PBMs can really throw a lot of shenanigans into the space. And he thought there's got to be a better way to do this. And so his first PBM was born. And now fast forward a lot of years, I won't say how many, here we are today at TrueScripts, almost 10 years in.
Thanks for that, Chas. I really do think it's so important for folks to hear the story of our origin because it really sets the stage for who we've grown to be and the values that we instill in all that we do. I know Nathan's intention was to create a PBM who would do things the right way. And part of the right way was being fully disclosed or transparent, that word that we all know and love so much.
My favorite four-letter word. My favorite four-letter word.
Right. It's just, a marketing buzzword, four-letter word. There are tons of PBMs in this space who claim to be transparent, but transparency can mean so many different things. So I think it's really important for everyone to understand how their PBM defines transparency. So can you give the audience an idea of what transparency means to TrueScripts?
Sure. I think it's kind of two-factored. So first off, there should be no conflicts of interest between your PBM and the role that they serve for you as a client. So what that means to us is, the fact that a PBM's role is negotiating with pharmacies on the client's behalf and the patient's behalf for the best pricing available. So when you own pharmacies and you're negotiating with a parent or a sister company, at some point in time, there's going to be a decision made to the betterment of your own revenue or your pharmacy's revenue and to the detriment of the patient and the plan. So pharmacy ownership, we feel, is just a direct conflict of interest, and we've always felt that here at TrueScripts. We also feel, PBMs that do their own clinical prior authorizations or don't require prior authorizations, typically those two reasons are, again, driven back to the revenue that the PBM can gain by either allowing high-cost medications to go through with no PA or approving prior authorizations for high-cost medications. Those are both driven back to rebate retention and pharmacy revenue. So those conflicts of interest right there, we feel, are huge. The second aspect is full disclosure. We like that term a lot better than transparent. So to us, full disclosure really means, providing clients with all the data they need to trust but verify. Trust trusting that your PBM is not spread pricing is one thing. Verifying it and being able to validate it and have access to that data is an entire another thing. Same with the rebates. Are you retaining, getting all the rebates back as the client, which you should be. So pass through on pricing and on rebates, being able to have access to all your data however you want it, right? Who needs it? Where does it need to go? How frequent do you need to see that data? Make sure there's no pricing, no cost to that because it's your data, clients. We're simply housing it for you. And lastly, this goes back to the very beginning of the relationship, and that is in the pharmacy services agreement or the contract, right? Our pharmacy service agreement is a whopping 9 pages long, and that includes the signature page, the fee schedule, the BAA. It's all in there because whenever you're keeping things very simple and very pure, you don't need a lot of words to be able to say, this is what I'm going to do, and this is how you can verify that that's what I'm doing.
It's all clear cut and straightforward, easy to read.
That's right. We say fifth grade math and common sense gets you pretty far in life.
I love that. And I hate that this concept of transparency has become so watered down in the industry because truthfully, when it's done right, it really makes a huge difference. And speaking of watered down concepts, it seems that the concept of member care in healthcare has kind of gone to the wayside, at least in the insurance world. So, as you know, at TrueScripts, our tagline is amazing care, but it's so much more than just a tagline. So I'd love for you to tell our listeners a little bit more about what that actually means for us, for everyone that we serve, and why why it is so much more than just a tagline or a slogan.
That's right. Well, first off, we believe that amazing care starts from within at TrueScripts. And so that's for every team member that is part of the crew here at TrueScripts. First and foremost, getting hired at TrueScripts takes some steps. You can ask any of our recent new hires and they'll be like, I can't imagine having to go through this every single time, but we promise it's pain-free, but it is the steps that are involved for a reason, right? So we want to make sure we have the right people on the TrueScripts bus because we are all at TrueScripts the keeper of our culture. Every single one of us, from bottom to top in our org chart, hold a responsibility about the culture at TrueScripts. Our primary focus is patient access to care. And if that's not how you're wired, then this probably isn't the right organization for you. But we're very community focused. We're very philanthropic as an organization. And again, that's from the top down. One of the very first decisions that Nathan, John, and Kevin, our founders, made was that we were going to put aside a certain amount of our profits annually to go into charitable giving. And that was before we had made the first penny at TrueScripts. And then as individuals, we're also able to give to charities and anything that is near and dear to our heart. So we also, this is going to sound crazy, and people roll their eyes at me every time I say that we have a Dream Manager program at TrueScripts, and it's a real thing. Here's my endorsement, Matthew Kelly's book. Definitely, if you need a copy, hit Allie or I up. We'd love to send you one. But it's a real thing, and it's about understanding that you don't age out of dreams, or you shouldn't. It's not just a childhood thing. It really should be a full life circle. And so our Dream Manager program is about, realizing the best version of you and how can TrueScripts help you achieve those dreams both personally and professionally. And last but not least, I'm so excited that for the third year running, we participated in the best places to work in Indiana. I won't call it a competition, even though some of us are pretty competitive minded. We'll call it an organization. And so all 3 years that we've participated, we have placed as a best places to work. And the last 2 years, we have won #1 in our category. So that just speaks to the way our team members view TrueScripts. And hopefully, like we said, that's because amazing care starts from within, so we can then push it forward.
I love that, Chaz. And I know that being the #1 best place to work in Indiana might not be the ultimate thing that we will accomplish, but it speaks volumes about our team. Our team, they're the ones who answer these questions, who give the feedback. So, I mean, it speaks volumes of our leadership. You can't beat that. And when we were there at the awards dinner, I say, it's not like we are running a gym and we're coming in, and not to say that anyone who, is maybe a physical trainer, not that your job isn't hard, but just, I said, we're a PBM. What we do is hard. It's taxing, it's stressful mentally and emotionally. I mean, our team, especially, the member and clinical care team, dealing with those members who have a healthcare issue, trying to get these medications, trying to deal with these complex conditions and treatments, it takes a lot. So to be a number one place to work and to keep up that culture, that says more about who we are than almost anything. So I think that
100%.
is super, super important. And like you said, the amazing care that we develop inside of our walls really does empower our team to deliver that care outside of our walls. So I'd love for you to talk just a little bit about some of the ways that we are doing that and taking care of the people that we serve.
Sure. So, first and foremost, patient access to care is our number one driving force at TrueScripts. It's why TrueScripts was born, right? Again, sitting back into Nathan's experience and seeing the impact on his patients that PBMs were having, and he just knew then that there had to be a better way. So, patient access to care is our number one focus, and then we quickly wrap that with cost savings and cost containment for both the client and the patient themselves. So it's a real high touch, white glove approach here at TrueScripts. We pride ourselves in our one ring response rate. So that means all inbound calls are answered on the first ring of the phone over 99.5% of the time. And I don't know any industry, let alone a company within the healthcare space, that opts to staff to the level that it takes to deliver that type of member care. And speaking on that, we do staff to that level. And we've always said all along that if our growth would ever impact our ability to deliver amazing care, we would slow the growth. And that was a commitment from the top to the bottom. And again, we haven't had to do that because we're a blessed organization. We're able to staff ahead of the need. We put people and processes in place to make sure that that level of care does not drop. Over a third of our team has at least one clinical or analytical designation. I do feel that's unique in the PBM space because typically, obviously, PBMs have pharmacists and have some nurses on staff, but we make it a point to, at all levels of our organization, to hire clinically focused people because people go into those types of roles for a reason. They are wired to engage patients and deliver care, and so we want to ensure that that's who we have answering those phones. We're really passionate about delivering education. So that can take on a lot of faces, right? It's educating, each individual caller that calls in, and like depending on what their question is, right? Where should I get my medications? How can I get a cheaper version? What have you? So it starts with member education, but that goes all the way through client education about just what's happening with their spend, with their members, broker and partner education on what's happening in our industry. And I think all of that ties back to amazing care.
I think you nailed it. And I think all of that ties back just to the foundation of TrueScripts. Why were we created? Why we are who we are.
Got to
So
know your why.
you gotta know your why. And it's, yeah, the building blocks that TrueScripts was built on really, they fuel every action and decision that we make today. So I really, really appreciate you hopping on here and just letting our audience get to know us a bit. And for anyone who's listening, we will definitely dive into some deeper, more detailed PBM topics in the future. But I truly think that this was very important for you to get to know who we are and understand our why, so you can know that any piece of information forthcoming, we're not just blowing you smoke. We are a team who truly cares. We want to make a difference. We want to do better. We want to level up this healthcare ecosystem in any way that we can. So for anyone who wants to learn more about TrueScripts, visit our website at www.truescripts.com or shoot us an email. You can send it to partnerwithus@truescripts.com, and Chastity and I will both get that, and we'll be happy to either schedule a chat with you or connect you with anyone else on our team who might be able to help you out or give you some additional information. So we appreciate you all and hope to talk with you soon.